The Charlotte Hornets this year are very, very bad. But I'm going to be saying, as a non-Charlotte Hornets fan, by the way, why I think they are one of the more interesting teams in the entire NBA and could legitimately shock a lot of people. Like, they could be kind of like the next Houston Rockets. How the Houston Rockets went from really, really bad just last year to now being a very, very respectable team. And I think the Charlotte Hornets, if they play their cards correctly, can very much be in the exact same situation. And I'm going to be getting to a few reasons why I do think that in this video. So if that does sound interesting to you, please hit the like button and subscribe button and watch it all the way through. And without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so really the first reason for this, what it feels like the first time in my entire lifetime, the Charlotte Hornets finally have a direction and a foundation to build off of. Ever since I was born, they've kind of been this random floating team that, is very bad. Like a low-end team that at best will make it as an 8th seed, and really nothing much more from there. The best Hornets team I ever seen was the Kemba Walker in his prime-led teams, okay, with Nicholas Batum as their second best player. So they never really were that great of a team since I've been born, but this team has tons and tons of potential. As look at the foundation that they currently have. They have a foundation of LaMelo Ball as their star going forward, Brandon Miller as a future potential superstar, PJ Washington as a very nice young guy who still has development, and Mark Williams, one of the more underrated young centers in the entire NBA, plus Nick Smith Jr. coming off their bench right now, who is a very young guy with high offensive upside. And this is the first time they've had a collection of young players that legitimately have a high upside. LaMelo Ball could be a top 10, top 5 point guard in the league one day. Brandon Miller has a chance to be a top 10, top 5 power forward in the NBA one day. And then PJ Washington could be a high-level role player. I think Mark Williams could be a top 10, top 15 center one day. Nick Smith Jr. could be a great 6-man one day. I just think overall, this team legitimately has something to build off of. Now, like I said, it's just a foundation. They need more than what they have right now, but they can legitimately build off of this, and they have something substantial that go into the future that can grow and get better and better and better as they build and grow together as time goes on. And really what really accelerates the potential ceiling of this foundation that they have is the fact that they also have multiple, and I mean multiple assets that they can flip and trade and legitimately get very valuable pieces towards their future rebuild going forward. As look at some of the trade assets they have. They have guys like Kyle Lowry right now, and Kyle Lowry, in my opinion, is still a vet that a lot of contenders would love to have. He's a point guard who's going to play the right way, and he does result in winning basketball games, and I think Kyle Lowry will probably get flipped eventually, if it's not in this trade line, in next year's trade deadline, and he will legitimately probably get a first-round pick for him, or a few nice little role players here and there as well, and I think Kyle Lowry would fit on another team very, very well, and they're going to be able to get something of semi-high value in return for him as well. Then you have, Miles Bridges, who has been in tons of trade rumors this trade deadline, and for him, with how good he's played, yes, I know the drama that comes with him, but he is a legitimately good basketball player when you only look at the basketball side of things, and if a team is willing to trade for him, they're going to have to give up a few first rounders, or at least a lot of high ceiling young guys, and I think Miles Bridges is a guy that you can get a few really nice picks or players for. Then you have Cody Martin, who's a vet that a lot of contenders would love to have just off their bench. Gordon Hayward's a vet that a lot of teams would love to have off their bench, or maybe even starting for them, and those are guys that you can legitimately get a lot of draft capital for, or even young talent. And if they trade all of them, they could be sitting on a stockpile of future draft picks, which is extremely valuable for a young and rebuilding team going forward. And let's be honest, with them most likely being sellers at this trade deadline, they're probably going to have a top pick in this year's class. And in an ideal world, they could get a guy like Alex Sarr, who in my opinion, Alex Sarr is one of the few guys in this class that legitimately has superstar upside and could be a dominant player. And they could legitimately form a big three of LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Alex Sarr going in the forward, which would be very fun to watch due to LaMelo's elite passing ability. And then all three of them can shoot and score from all around the arc and play defense at a high level. And I just think they would be a very fun big three, but realistically, they probably won't have the number 1 overall pick. Yes, there's a chance, but they probably won't just statistically, and they could walk away with a guy like Jacoby Walter, although I don't think will be a star or anything, I think he would fit perfectly alongside LaMelo Ball as a guy who's a sniper from the three-point line. He can defend, he's fairly strong, he has a good handle, and he even has self-creation upside going into the future. I just think overall, him and LaMelo would fit very well together, and Brandon Miller, and they would really be able to build for the future going forward, and finally get LaMelo that solidified backcourt partner for the rest of his career as long as he is with the Charlotte Hornets. And to really put this kind of very high future and fun future to think about in perspective, they could roll out a starting lineup next year. In an ideal world, they could roll out a lineup that looks like LaMelo Ball, maybe Nick Smith Jr. or a guy they get in a trade, Brandon Miller, Alex Sarr, Aguilar and Mark Williams, and that is a very fun starting lineup to look at. You have two bigs that are legitimately good at what they do. Now, yes, Alex Sarr is a very different player. He's very athletic, can guard all positions. He can shoot at all three levels. He can dribble the ball as a big. And then you have Mark Williams, who's more traditional rim protector, rebounder, very athletic guy. But them two together would be a great defensive front court. Then on top of that, you have LaMelo Ball, one of the better point guards in the entire NBA, and a year two Brandon Miller, who will be even better than he is this year. Now, although I don't think that team is a high-level playoff team or even close to a contending level team, I think their future ceiling is extremely high. And then you put on top of that the fact that they're going to have a absolute boatload of draft capital if they make all the trades that they could end up making, or even young guys or role players off their bench from those trades that they would make. I just think overall the ceiling of this team is very nice, and if they play their cards right, the Charlotte Hornets fan base and team itself could be in for a very fun future going forward. But unfortunately, guys, that's coming for this video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think the Charlotte Hornets have a good future? What do you think they should do? On your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you like, point to the like button and subscribe button. I mean the absolute word to me. And I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo.